evening, class. As you all know, March is the third month of the year on the Gregorian calendar. What you didn't know is that it was once celebrated the first month of the year in the early Roman calendar. Almost 25 years ago, it was also the month that I was born. So I'm excited to share just a few of many interesting facts about March 1991. For starters, social media has never been as big as it is now. But back in March 1991, there were several celebrities and athletes that made their presence in the media. For example, early March, both Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson signed huge record deals. Janet Jackson signed a $40 million deal with Virgin Records, and Michael Jackson signed a $65 million deal with Sony Records. Now, for most of us today, that's still a huge amount. But almost 25 years ago, it was considered an unbelievable amount. Also, another celebrity that made their presence in the media, back on March 18th, 1991, the Fight of the Year took place in Las Vegas and aired on pay-per-view, and that was Mike Tyson versus Donovan Ruddock. Mike Tyson did go on to win that match against Donovan Ruddock in the 7th round. Now, here is an interesting fact for those of you that are huge Michigan sports fans. Back in 1991, the Northern Michigan hockey team did go on to win its first NCAA Division I hockey tournament. They did end up beating Boston University in overtime 8-7 back in March. Now, other than the celebrities and athletes that were in the news, back in March of 1991, there were several tragedies that took place and hit America hard as well. For example, back on March 3rd of 1991, there were several LAPD officers that were videoed severely beating a motorist named Rodney King. Now, these LAPD officers did go to court, and in the beginning they were acquitted, which ended up triggering riots all over Los Angeles. Now, out of these riots, ultimately 50 people lost their lives, over 2,000 people were injured, and almost 10,000 people were arrested because of these riots that started with the beating of Rodney King in early March. Now, almost 1,000 miles away, on the same day of March 3rd, 1991, a United Airlines Boeing 737, Flight 585, crashed in Colorado Springs, Colorado. All 25 people on board did ultimately lose their life. There were no survivors of that crash. And later on in March 23rd actually, almost 3 weeks later, there was devastating weather that ripped through Tennessee and Kentucky. In Tennessee, there were several tornadoes that touched down, killing 5 people and injuring multiple people. Now, that specifically hits home to me, being that I did lose my house to a tornado 4 years ago. Weather is one of the scariest things to me because it cannot be controlled. Now, other than the athletes and the celebrities and the terrible tragedies that were in the news in March 1991, some interesting facts about the cost of living. Well, nowadays, the gas prices fluctuate between the $2 to $3, $4 a gallon. That's unbelievable to us. But back in 1991, gas was only $1.12. Now, I'm sure back then everyone thought that these prices were ridiculous, and now we only hope gas prices can get that low again. On top of the gas prices being so low, back in March 1991, if you wanted to buy a new house, you were looking at spending about $120,000 on a new house. I wish that I could find a house for $120,000 new now. Unfortunately, the houses that are popping up around our community are in the $300,000 to $400,000. Now that back then was unheard of, completely unheard of. And nowadays, a new house for $120,000 is completely unheard of. But that does make sense, being that back in March of 1991, the average income was about $30,000 compared to the triple 100,000 six-figure income that's coming in now. Now, throughout the years, many things have changed. However, as we continue to learn, history does find a way to repeat itself. The celebrities and the athletes continue to make their way through the mainstream media. And unfortunately, these tragedies, much like the ones that took place in March of 1991, continue to occur. The one thing that I don't think that we can count on changing or going back to history is the cost of living. That is one thing that will never change. It will continue to rise. Now, those are a few fun facts that happened in March of 1991. Thanks for watching.